Standing. I'd like to call a moment of silence for Jesse Haley. Thank you for your time. Sir, can you please do roll call?
Sure. Councilperson Rivera.
Present.
Councilperson Vicky.
Present.
Councilman Monteleone.
Present.
Supervisor Pizzolato.
Present.
And Councilman Miglorino.
Present. Javed Afzali will not be with us this evening. He had a legal obligation in Buffalo. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the January 13th meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. You can see now, we just wanted the public to have all the emergency service calls in front of you, so you can take a look at the Highland Ambulance Service, Highland Fire Department, and Newland Fire Department calls. They're obviously very grateful for all their hard work, and I'm personally very grateful. One of my buildings had a gas leak on Friday night, and the Newland Fire Department was quick to respond with our fire inspector and code enforcer Jim Gerard. So thank you to the Newland Fire Department for that. There was some really exciting meetings coming up and other activities. So this Saturday, February 14th, it's also Valentine's Day, but it's also the second installment of the Crowded Table, which will take place at the Highland Senior and Community Center at 2 p.m. And that's hosted by Mike O'Brien and Abby Watts. We have the annual Berryville Chamber of Commerce winter warm-up on March 7th from 6 to 9. And it's at the local Nest, which is the old Orchard Inn in Lumberland. We have entertainment by Margot Siebert and the Treblemakers. She's a Broadway performer and drama desk winner. Will be the entertainment. Local businesses Do Good Spirits, Three Hammers Winery, and Catering to Go are also involved. They are accepting donations for the silent auction. So if you'd like to make a donation, I see our fearless leader, Kathy DeBoule, is here. So you can see Kathy or myself or Laura when we have those, as well as Karen Margolis. Our Newland St. Patrick's Day parade is the following weekend on March 15th, 2026 from 11:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's shaping up really nicely. We're really excited. The parade route will be between Crossroads and the Park Bars joining us this year, which we're really excited about. The Brian and Rosie Jordy duo is performing outside. We have lots of surprises and exciting things in store with everybody. So get ready. It's, I believe, the 48th annual this year. So that's pretty exciting stuff. And then the date has finally been settled for the 250th anniversary celebration of America in town and the time capsule reveal and burial. It's going to be at Mini Sink Battlegrounds, July 18th and 19th. So we'll be unveiling the time capsule that was put into the ground about 50 years ago. And there's a lot of guys that, including our own Frank Monteleone, who was a scout at the time, and he's on that plaque up there in the case. They were participants when they were probably about, I'm not going to age you, but let's trail off and say it was 50 years ago. And we're going to be announcing other ways for the public to get involved in the new time capsule. So we'll bury another new time capsule for another 50 years. We've been meeting with the school and talking about different programs to get all the students involved. And we'll be engaging with the public very soon too. We just have to find out the size of our vessel so we can figure out how many people can participate and what we're exactly asking for. So it's very exciting. The town and county historians, Deborah Conway and John Conway, and the Delaware Company at large are going to be helping with the celebration. They manage the Mini Sink Battleground for the county. It's part of the Parks Department, and they manage it. We're also coordinating with the National Park Service, the Zane Grey Museum, to handle parking and shuttles and things. So it's going to be a really wonderful celebration, and I'm really excited to be part of it on behalf of the town that it's falling on our watch. So here we go, 250 years, America. Also, the new town board members, along with myself and the two clerks, are going to be at the New York Association of Towns February 16th, which is Monday through Wednesday, the 18th. I think I'm the only one that actually needs to stay through the 18th. I'm the town's delegate for the Association of Towns. I represent the town on behalf of New York Association of Towns. So we just have our delegacy breakfast on the 18th. But I think that everybody else is going to be checking out on the 17th at night, and arriving on the 15th. Yeah, do you want me to go ahead and do the constabulary? Okay. Okay, so we're really excited. We've hired Jason Sarnoff as our probationary constable, and he'll be attending basic peace officer training scheduled for March 9th through April 10th, 2026. It's happening in Queens. We're lucky enough that one of our residents who lives in the town of Highland for almost 20 years is a retired NYPD police officer. He was put on our constable reestablishment committee along with Mike Holler and myself and Tom. We had a meeting and basically decided how we could fast track this to make sure that we could still fit it within our calendar year, what needed to happen, and how we could hire locally. And Jason was the most qualified, but he's just hired as our probationary constable. So he's going to basically work through our establishment. We have to have one peace officer training are trained in order to apply for our Department of Criminal Justice number to reinstate our constabulary. We also had to rename our constabulary because we had originally filed it as Town of Highland Supervisor, which is not what it is. That's how the Criminal Justice Department had it labeled in their system. So we're course correcting. We'll have the same criminal justice number once we have an employee, but it will be named the Town of Highland Constabulary, which we're excited about to get that all set up. So congratulations to Jason. He blew us all away with his qualifications and also his handiwork while he was on vacation. He helped to draft a 350-page manual that we had to file with the Department of Justice. His resume is beyond impressive. You know, he's a 20-year New York Police Department veteran. He served in Jamaica, Queens. He's worked with the Hewitt Bay Fire District. He's been an emergency medical technician. He worked for the City of Long Beach Police Department before that in NYPD, and is a very decorated officer. So we feel very lucky to have him. He's going to be working for $18 an hour as we set this up, which he is beyond deserving of and qualified for. But we feel very excited about that. There's no formal recruitment going on. As soon as we get this established and set up, we will be starting our recruiting process. But we basically have to get one person trained up so that we can start the process and have one employee. And so Jason's kind of bit the bullet, so to speak, for the community, and I think he's going to be a really wonderful probationary constable to help us set all of this up. So it's very, very exciting. Sonia, can we get a clerk update on tax collection as well as the retirement filing?
So the town received correspondence from the New York State Local Retirement System indicating that the prior clerk's standard workday and reporting resolution had been submitted to their office twice. And due to those errors in the filings, the matter has now been forwarded to the Pension Integrity Bureau. So our office is addressing and correcting the inherited issues, and the Bureau has requested that we send them a draft of the updated resolution before presenting it back to you. So we're actively working on that and anticipate presenting the corrected resolution next month.
Did they come back with like, are there any penalties to filing it later to court?
No, they just want us to get it right.
Okay. And so that's why you're going to fax them over what our drafted is before we go ahead and
correct
resolution.
We have to look back over the standard workday, the whole, how the hours have been recorded and things like that.
Right.
Okay, because there was a problem on that sheet as well as the resolution.
Great. Now for the good news. How much have you guys taken?
To date, we have collected $4,349,876.32 in property taxes. That's totaling 64.84% of the total tax warrant. All scheduled disbursements to the highway department, the supervisor, and our emergency service providers have been issued. Tomorrow, we will be making our first payment to the Sullivan County Treasurer, and all receipts for the full tax payments have been mailed as of today. The Justice Court annual audit letter from last month, that has been completed and filed.
Thanks.
We had an issue with the panic button. I guess it's been for a while, and Century Alarm came the other day, repaired it, and now it's fully operational.
What is that company that works on our?
It was Century that
Century.
came, yeah. And that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Joe Barnes, you are up.
Okay. All right, since our last meeting, now this is not during working hours. The trucks have been out 34 times since November 14th, 13 times the past month. Spent the night January 25th into 26th. We're currently working on the 2017 pickup. Washing and repairing trucks. Learning the new laptop scan tool, the training from the vendor. We've been cleaning parking lots and intersections for visibility. And in the past month, I've applied for $146,348.26 in CHIPS and EWR, which is emergency winter repair, and the DOT received the paperwork yesterday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dad. We all know you've been very busy. in this-
Yeah.
It's been our wildest, winter weather since, I don't know if you guys have heard about the sixes, but 2006, 2016, and now 2026. We've had record snowfall that's in line with these 10-year cycles. So, thank you for all the work you guys are doing. Could you tell us a little bit about, so we saw the paperwork come through on the lift purchase. And
Yes.
for those of you, just for background, if you haven't been at the meetings and heard us discussing this, we've been at a pretty high cost every year to put up the veterans banners and to do other work, tree cutting work, all the other things. At a pretty high cost, we were getting a grant for it from TC Energy. We also partnered with other local groups and institutions within our town to sort of work share this thing to cut back on the costs. But Joe found a really wonderful used option that he's going to present to the board.
Yes, we're looking at it, it's from O'Lory, the gentleman the company that we've been renting the machine from. The cost is approximately $22,000. It's a 2008 S60 is the model. It's a 60-foot reach. Got approximately 4,000 hours. And the only other thing is it has a yearly inspection that would be $450 a year. So I personally think the machine's in really decent shape. It's up there for the board members. Anytime, you want to stop up, take a look at it. It's there. I don't know when Tom O'Lory's going to pick it up again. And hopefully he never does.
So this is back to the board just for discussion. Do you guys want to go inspect the Dooney? Do you think that we have any motor skills or electronic prowess that Joe and his guys don't have? Or do you think it's too premature to call a vote on this, or would you like to?
What's the annual amount that we spend?
The rental this time around, does anybody remember the
1,600.
1,600 per rental? So we've been spending approximately $3,200 a year on it. Hasn't been inclement weather while we rented it this time, but that did happen back in May. I want to say, was it May or was it last November? I just remember at one point we had to keep it for longer than we normally would have because it snowed or rained or something like that. So it ended up costing us a little bit more than that. And then the chamber was able to supplement some of those funds as well. But now we could potentially charge the chamber to rent it from us, we could make tons of money off of it. Cheaper commerce.
I just have some questions.
Sure.
So there's 4,000 hours on it now.
Yeah.
What is the life? How many hours would it have in its life?
Oh, say 10,000.
Okay.
And the amount of hours we're gonna put on it, probably, we're gonna use it. Christmas lights,
Yeah.
trimming trees, banners, flags.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll find other uses for it.
Yeah.
I'm cleaning the gutters at the shop. Heck, even cleaning the gutters here.
Will it be stored inside to lengthen its life?
It will probably be stored in the pool.
Okay. If we come to see it, can we get lifted up?
I'm sure.
Means though, you think that there's gonna be at least 7 years of life left on it?
Okay. Yeah,
Do we have the fall protection stuff? Harness it, the fall protection, the harnesses, the lanyards? For the operators?
does Jeff have full food?
There is, but they should be.
We should probably look into
They're
getting
probably-
that,
Yes.
and they should probably wear it too.
Yeah.
Who are your lift guys right now? Jeff and
Jeff and Rob and Jeff and me,
Jeff Robertson.
yeah.
So we probably need like three.
Well, you can only put 2 guys probably in the bucket at the same time.
Yeah.
So you probably,
I just need total like outfit for the,
they just need shoe harnesses, really.
Yeah.
okay.
So I did some research on that particular machine, the Genie S60, right, Joe?
Yeah.
And I went online to see if I could find a comparable price for that year. I mean, the price of, what was it, 22,000 shirt
Yeah.
black?
Yeah.
I found what, 2008 machine with 2,356 hours on it. And they want 25,500 for it, so it's possible, is it possible we could speak to Aurora? and-
Where is the machine?
Well, I believe this one's in Texas.
You can add a couple thousand to that.
It doesn't change that comparison. It's just.
Go, yeah, you supply.
But what I'm trying to say is possibly, can we speak to Aurora if they can move a little bit on the number? I'll reach out to them if you like.
Yeah, I'm not a good negotiator.
But, I mean, I'm all for it, so. I just wanted to see what numbers were out there. Machines, I mean, there's newer machines here with more hours and they want more money. It depends, what's what. I don't know what the condition of these. Equipment is.
They're foam filled tires. Tires are in good shape. There's no cracks in the body. I feel it's in really good shape. Frank, you have one?
I have one, yeah, I have a grower,
So.
60 footer,
Yeah,
and that's a 90, 98, and 99, still runs.
yeah, I mean, you're just, it's hydraulics in there.
Yeah, that's it, there's really not too much that can go wrong with it.
Yeah.
And you put 10,000 hours of December on it to go set up the Christmas.
Yeah. And actually, I bought a machine from him, and yeah, he did me right. I mean, he doesn't sell, he doesn't try to push garbage off.
Right,
So,
yeah.
so as far as the vendor's concerned, I'm comfortable with that. How are you gonna move it? So if you gotta take it somewhere, you're gonna
Just transport.
drive it or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so, Tom, are you requesting that we table the conversation? Is there any sort of time constraint that he's given us, like, oh, we'll take it out of March, okay?
No,
No, that's up to you. I mean, from my research, the number's good. It's a good number.
Okay.
If you want to try and.
I'm giving Tom an opportunity to negotiate.
Yeah, I mean, if there's no constraints on it, like, it seems like the next time that we need the next time that we need the machine is coming.
Yeah.
To put up the veterans banner backup. And, we could, we could give it until the March meeting
Yeah.
to decide if we want to do just a little bit more.
So why don't we table it till next month?
Okay,
Oh.
Yeah, well,
Let's
the other
speak
thing
to
too,
whoever
is
I have to speak to, we'll see what we can do.
you could negotiate a little bit with them because the lift is already paid for the spring through PC Energy.
okay.
Oh,
So,
so whatever
They don't
that.
pre-purchase it.
We could also see if TC Energy, because that was given an effect to maintain Pierce Park, the veterans banners like that group, so we could see if they would potentially let us turn those funds into any sort of maintenance for
For
Pierce
Harris
Park
Park.
or something of that nature too, because because it
Well,
was,
I think O'Leary's already been paid.
maybe they would take it off the cost of.
That's
That's
what I'm
what he-
saying.
Got it. Now we're all there.
Does anyone know what that number is?
Yeah,
How much, 1,500, 600, what is?
yeah, it would be the,
16,
yeah. 16.
unless they increased it for 2026.
So 1,600 is prepaid from TCN.
Yeah.
Yeah, TC Energy for the grant.
Okay. Yeah, so you can just give me the contact when you get a chance and see what we can do, but I believe we're all for it. So
That's great.
that's a good idea.
I appreciate you doing the work, Tom.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe. That's great. And thank you guys for everything you're doing. I appreciate it. Okay, Christine Martin, you are up. Christine Martin, for you guys that don't know, is our Upper Delaware Council representative.
Okay, hi, thanks for having me. I just have two issues to talk about from our recent Upper Delaware Council full board meeting. One is the letter suite for 2026 and just sort of working on possible dates for the town of Highland. I would recommend either Saturday, April 18th or the 25th. It is traditionally done around Earth Day. But there is now an extension to the entire month of April, just so more people can choose more dates and be more convenient for everyone. So, but it's a wonderful, gathering of volunteers, picking up thousands of pounds of trash across the highway in all the towns and townships in the Upper Delaware. So I'm really looking forward to it. Just let me know which day you guys think works best, and we'll work on that. So the other one, and this is really the important one, and why I'm here, is the Berryville water gauge funding is needed for 2027. If you recall, last year, the Berryville water gauge was it was no longer going to be funded by USGS. And so the National Park Service took up the stopgap funding in 2025 and 2026. And this is for the measurement of discharge. So discharge is cubic feet per second and water volume moving through the river at that location. This data is crucial for flood management. So it seems pretty important to kind of figure out how we're going to do this in 2027. I will mention that there are other measurements that are being done at that gauge that are being paid for by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I know that that includes gauge height, and possibly there are some other measurements, and I'm not sure if PA is responsible for these ones. Temperature, something called specific conductance, which is water quality, and there may be some other things. If you look at the website, Berryville Water Gauge USGS, you can see all the different things that they monitor. So it's estimated that that PA pays about $6,000 to $8,000 a year to monitor whatever measurements they're sponsoring. And it's estimated that the discharge measurement, the one that is going to be cut off, is approximately $12,000 to $13,000 a year. That's what NPS has been paying last year and will continue through this year. The payment would go to USGS, the Department of Interior, and I think where there's probably some funding partners we could find, and I'm not sure if there is a kind of a deadline situation for that, but it does seem like something that's pretty important, given that, you know, even in the FINFO documents, there was talk about the evacuation plans and, you know, relying in part, even though that water gauge is below the Lackawaxen, and so it's not ideal for the only measurement of, you know, possible flood measurement and management, but it still would be essential. So there you have it. That's the information I have. If you want me to find some more information for you, I'm happy to do a little more research, if it's helpful.
No, I think, you know, knowing that the funding is paid through 2026 is a good thing. You know, we have a lot of negotiating to do with FinFo and with other large projects. Also, I don't know if everybody caught it, but the county is in the midst of a water table study. They just approved that, and that could also correspond with river activities. I put an inquiry into the county about that to see if like there's any correspondence there, because we would like that to align. In our initial conversations with FinFo, we've talked about water studies and things of that nature. So a gauge and gauge funding could be part of something, because that will have a deep impact on those metrics. So thank you for that long lead time on everything. I think it's great to know that it's going to be there. I would like to make a motion to approve the litter sweep for April 18th. I think momentum wise, it's always good to be either aligned with Earth Day or just before it, so that it can kind of maximize efforts. And it's always been a really positive thing for our community. So do I have a motion to approve the UDC litter sweep for April 18th?
John, that's not Easter weekend or anything, is it?
Easter weekend is the first.
Last year it was a little bit.
Yeah, but it was the Saturday before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's April 5th this year.
Okay.
So it clears it by 2 weeks. Yep.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Thank you, Christine, for all your hard work. Can you tell us really quick, not only are you a regular UDC member, but you're also on 2 of the 3.
I attend the One Project Committee as well as the WORMS Committee, which stands for Water Resource Management. I can't remember what the U is for. So I attend two committee meetings as well every month.
Got it. And then the alternate picked up the 3rd committee?
He hasn't, but I could ask him to do that. He might be interested. He seems really keen. He's really smart, and I'm really happy that.
Great. Excellent. Well, thank you for all your work and all the time you put into this. We really appreciate it on behalf of everybody, and we'll let Lori know that April 18th is our big day. Excellent. Thank you. Laura, so Laura Burrell had a meeting with the high school today, the principal.
Yeah.
And so you're going to give us an update as it pertains to grants.
Sure. In my former life, I built internship programs at the college level, which also addressed high school internships and readiness in the field. And so the school had reached out late last year to start to develop an internship program with Town Hall. They have civics programs that they're engaged in with the state. Their seniors graduate with a civic seal of readiness if they complete a capstone project. And so the school is very curious about setting something up for their student government association or students who are interested in understanding kind of municipalities, how it works, having a regular presence in our board meetings, helping out within Town Hall. And so we are in the talks now of building a Town Hall internship program for an Eldred junior or senior. And so I'm trying to align that with our request for funding for Sullivan County youth programs, which would encapsulate working with youth in both that Town Hall internship capacity as well as through library programming. It's also the time of year to apply for the Sullivan 180 beautification grant. So we're in the middle of drafting that. this year I'd like to provide an elevated paid position through our request so that we have someone else on the ground to help manage the workload, because we're now at 22 garden locations. And that's in addition to 18 hanging baskets, which is a lot of work for the few volunteers that we get. So we're going to be doing a big recruiting push this year, and we'll hopefully have a temporary summer paid person in place, as well as we'll make our traditional intern request. So those are some of the things I'm working on in the grant space. And we're very excited about working with the school, and as are they.
And just to touch on what Laura just said, the interns that work for Sullivan 180 are compensated pretty well. It's $20 an hour.
No, it's 17.
17. 17 plus 401k
Yeah.
investment, plus lots of training and lots of like group projects. And it's a really great gig.
Yeah.
And they're basically gardening with Laura and other people throughout the year.
Yeah.
And then our intern got to work with a professional gardening maintenance company last year, because we hired Mama and Co., which is an all-female led gardening troupe that did all of our gateway sign garden and as well as our river access grant applications that Laura and I've been working on for about 5 or 6 years now. So it was a big summer for kind of actualizing all these new parks and gardens, which we're really excited about. So if you guys know any students, I know Laura's communicating directly with the school, but it is a really wonderful opportunity for somebody ages 16 to 20, correct?
Yeah, and preferably with reliable transportation, because when you have to drive from welcome sign to welcome sign, it does, create quite a distance. It's quite a distance to travel, and you need to bring your tools with you. They are also armed with tools and trained. And the internship program for the gardens, it doesn't start until after school ends. So there is a healthy amount of work that we're doing in April and May with the partnership with the highway guys to prep the garden spaces and hang the baskets. So that's where I think the hired position, the temporary paid position, would come into play. So hopefully we get that. We'll update you as we go along. We're always looking for volunteers. Or even flower recommendations. Like, I'm not an expert gardener, but I just like to do it. And so if you think that one flower might survive better in a certain box near your house, and you can see that it needs less water and it might be better, drought resistant or deer resistant, like, we will take all recommendations. There are some more grant updates coming in through the buildings later on in your agenda. Those SAM grants for the health access and the town hall renovation, we're starting to build the paperwork structure so we can track these and have better reporting. And so, like, on the back end, we're working on putting those systems in place.
Thank you, Laura.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to thank Laura again for her work on the reimbursement. So I'll report on the other grants. The Senior Community Center grant placement, the money's been deposited and received by the state. And so we should be getting our $50,000 back for that project, which is very exciting. We also were greenlit with the town hall technology and main hall grant. So we're going to be starting that renovation very soon. That was for $75,000. And that was back in 2024. It was administered from Aileen Gunther. All expenses have been approved for that. So we're going to break ground on that. Which brings me, well, we'll hit up our buildings Highland afterwards, after we get through a couple more committee reports. We're almost all approved in terms of expenditures and scope of work for the courthouse grant, which is very exciting. The only thing we're going back and forth on still is the stucco remediation and process. So we're working with AV Stucco, but they still have to approve the expense in the process that's being used. They want to make sure that it's a capital improvement and not just maintenance. But just for the record, if anybody knows anything about how they do modern stucco, they use like a wire system to install actual panels now. So it's not just the stucco on wood or the stucco on base. They're actually installing these panels to this whole wire system. And so they're basically writing this narrative to pass to the Ways and Means so they can further vet it. The way Ways and Means, I think there's been a little disinformation spread about all of our grants. So SAM grants are funded from the interest sold as state bonds. So the state purchases and sells bonds to the general public, which are available for everybody. And then they take the funds, those projected interests out of those funds and they pool it for towns, municipalities, non-for-profits to collect those funds and administer these grant programs. So the New York State Assembly gets a certain amount of money, the New York State Senate gets a certain pool of money, and then they bring them back to the towns in which they represent. So the money is already allocated for grants for towns funding. So when we are allocated these funds, they're not at a match. It's a reimbursement grant. It's 100% reimbursable. And what's also very exciting is that we got them. All right, that's the exciting news because we're basically competing for the funds with other towns. So if we don't get the money and if we don't actualize those things, our tax money that's being paid into the state, into the county, into our local municipality and the federal government would just not get the money. So we've already actioned it. We've been awarded and sponsored for these funds. And so your money is going to your town versus going to any other town. So whatever you hear to the contrary is wrong and it's intentional disinformation. We are very proud of our representatives that they go to Albany and go to the Senate floor and go to the Assembly floor and fight for us so that we can enact and improve our town's infrastructure in a big way. So if you hear anything to the contrary, if you'd like any additional information on these programs, I'm happy to put you in touch. But that's how it really works. So I really hope that if you have any questions about the process, that you bring them to us and not take it to social media or other intentional forms of disinformation that have been spread throughout the community, very sadly. So with that, let's move on to our buildings, Tom and Frank.
As far as the buildings go, our community center, we had a problem with our UV filter. I don't know if I mentioned that last month or not, but it's went on the blink. And thank you to Mike, he fixed it up for us and got it operational again. And we do have our certificate. So we're back in operation. It's all good there. Town hall, like John had mentioned, we are going to get the kitchen area converted into a kitchen/conference room, and that should start sometime next week, I would believe. The three next week to get together and go over a few things, but that's it. And basically, that's all I have to report on for this month.
And we're really excited that we have our general maintenance for the town, Iantha Hernandez. She maintains our courthouse, our town hall, our community and senior center, and does a lot of other maintenance work in general maintenance, but she's also a specialist with drywall and painting, which is a bulk of this project. So we're going to basically turn those funds over to E to do a lot of the bigger file swoops and converting this into a conference room and doing updates out here in the main hall space. And she's requested that she works with this girl, Mackenzie Denlinger. I don't know if anybody on board has ever heard this person before, but she's already working with E on a couple other projects and has been kind of her apprentice, so to speak. And so she's taught her how to drywall and has done another painting job with her. So E's requested that we bring Mackenzie on. Mackenzie will be compensated with funds from the SAM grant, so that's part of the $75,000 award. She would be paid for via voucher.
Yeah, special voucher, just for the grant.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that would be at a rate of $19 an hour, which is what the maintenance hourly is right now. So do I have a motion to hire Mackenzie Denlinger to work on in-house construction projects with Iantha Hernandez?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Congratulations, Mackenzie Denlinger. We're excited to have you working on these things. Thank you very much. Yeah. I also want to make a motion to create a new bank account for SAM grant for town hall renovation in the amount of $75,000 and to create a new bank account for the SAM grant for the Sullivan Health Access, in the amount of $100,000.
I'll make-
that one.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it. Frank and Laura, yeah. That's gonna help with accounting so much. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? So moved just for the public's clarity. Basically, these are reimbursable grants. So now that we've been paid our tax bills from the, we've collected those funds from the public. We're in receipt of those funds. Now we have a little bit more flexibility to where we can still put the bulk of the funds in the New York Class account, so it's still gaining interest, but still feel comfortable to bring small amounts over as bills come up with these SAM grants that we're able to pay them directly out so that the accounting is very clear. When you're working on municipal budgets, it's been a hard thing, a learning curve for everybody because we've never serviced so many grants coming through the town. So for bookkeeping and with the clerks, it just keeps things very clear so that when we allot a certain amount of money, we get the maximum payment. Obviously, we collect our interest still in our New York Class accounts, but the accounting is very clear. So we're writing checks out of these exact accounts so that there's no muddled kind of accounting or there's no confusion at the end of the year. And it also makes things very, very clear for Laura when she goes back and enters it into the state financial system.
Yeah.
Because the SFS system has been updated a few times since we've been in office for 3 years.
Yeah.
It's a very confusing system, and it's probably about a 5 or 6 step entry process. So having a dedicated bank account will hopefully clean that up for Laura and for Terry and myself. Is there any questions on any of this from the board? Was it okay? Good. Website and technology, Laura and Frank.
In terms of migrating our website, we're working with Secure Cloud Computing and Doreen Warner, who designed the website and helps us manage our updates to move from .com to .gov. That's still a work in progress. Everything has been approved so far. We're just setting up a date for the migration. We're backing up files and photos and things that we want to retain, so that when it does move to a .gov URL, so town of Highland ny.gov instead of .com, we have all the information retaining in the same space. We will probably have to shut the website down for a few hours the day that it is migrated, but we will announce that and let you know when that happens in advance of it happening. Over to you, Frank.
What's that?
Over to you,
Oh,
Frank.
yeah,
About the computer?
yeah.
Yeah, we order in for the computers. And we also came up with a plan on phasing in the new computers with our new with the software, without disrupting the building department or the code clerk, and do a smooth transition when we get the 2 new machines up and running, and we're happy with that. In the middle of the night, we'll make the change and they'll never know what happened. And that should be a smooth process, which we are doing in-house. We will not be subbing that to anybody else. So we're excited about that too. We're just waiting for the equipment to come in. Right?
Keyboards came in yesterday.
Keyboards are in.
Oh,
Okay.
keyboard. Great, good start.
So the code computers are outdated, but they also do not have enough storage or capability to run the software that we need for code enforcement permitting. There are backup memory units that there are 2 of. So these computers are really running on some tape and goodwill right now. And so the switch will be really great. We'll be able to use our systems and our technology a lot better. It was really overdue. And so in that vein, we are scheduling training with IPS, which handles our code and permitting and complaints and all of the property information, coming soon to anyone in town hall who wants the training. The code clerks are going to be required to go through the training. We will have 4 hours set aside with Edmunds GovTech, which is the company that runs the software for us. And I will make a motion tonight to allocate $600 to pay for that training. It's a 4-hour training period. It'll be broken into 2 hours. And then the last 2 hours of the training will be one-on-one questions. So if the planning and zoning board clerk wants to use the system and has specific questions for planning and zoning, the trainers will take that person aside and address those questions. If the code clerk or the code enforcement team have specific questions related to how they use the system, they'll have a lot more one-on-one. So in total, we're paying for 4 hours. We do have it in the budget, and I'd like to make a motion to spend $600 on that much needed training.
Are you proposing to bring that a research and study classification?
Yeah.
Got it. And so I think for Association of Towns training, we're at 180 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so we're in a good place. And the only other thing that might come up is once we get into the comprehensive plan committee, we may have to pay for some research for like the actual writing of the codes once the committee is done with their work. But I see no problem with that. Does anybody have any questions or training on that? Okay, so Laura made a motion. I'll second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Anything else on the code report?
You have your reports. Feel free to stop in Monday through Wednesday to ask any questions of the team if you have any regarding the permitting information or violation information. And since January 1st, 2026, we have collected over $15,275.85 in permits. So there are a lot of alterations happening, signs, roofs, commercial generator input, short-term rentals, logging happening. It's a very busy office. And so just over 15,000 has been collected since January 1. That's it.
Okay, anything else from the board? There is a motion to pay general abstract number 2-2026, claim 11 through 44, in the amount of $49,521.69.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any extensions? It's Tom.
That's the one that's there.
Yeah, for the town board, we did adjust this because the original amount, didn't include the full balance of the credit card. We try not to travel as a community without having the balance in case there's an emergency that would take place. So we're paying off the full balance of what's due on the credit card so that all those funds are available for hotels and many incidentals. Everything else is covered, meals and things we cover ourselves and it's part of the package. But yeah, just so everybody knows, that's the slight difference. I think it went from like around 45 to 49 to take a full balance.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a motion to pay highway abstract number 2-2026, claims 16 through 30 in the amount of $47,483.92.
I'll make that motion.
So a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Tom, so moved. Do I have a motion to pay Eldred Streetlights number 1-2026, claim number 1 in the amount of $162.19? Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Go ahead and second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. All right, is there any public comment? Okay, I do, oh, yes, Margie, did you have something before they, because I have to preface something with,
Thank the highway department from the bottom of my heart, because the job they do is wonderful. I was going out Saturday, our road was perfect, I went across to Pennsylvania, and I had to turn around and come home. So I want to say thank you again, I always say thank you, but it's times like this when we know we're doing our job.
okay, is there any other public comment? Yes.
Supervisor Pizzolatto and his husband are the owners of the Barryville Oasis. In 2022, they were.
Personal information, sorry. Ms. Carney, I'm sorry, Ms. Carney, this is not relevant to the meeting or the business of the town. I'm sorry, Ms. Carney, this is not relevant to the town. Ms. Carney, this is not relevant to the town.
It's allowed to.
Ms. Carney, this is not relevant to the
24,
purpose of the
says
town.
her position. In
Ms.
February-
Carney, this is not relevant to the position, nor is this the order of events that occurred. Ms. Carney, this is no way relevant to the town, nor is it.
Supervisor for his
In the meeting.
Okay.
violation.
Okay, is there any other public comment?
27.
Yes. Yes, and I- Erica?
I would just like to say that August 7th, all violations against the Oasis were closed by Al Bosco himself. Last month, this board voted unanimously to renew their contract. The Department of Health posted a notice of closure on the building and issued a requirement years ago.
And it's a lot of
The
hard.
notice was prompted.
And that's the way
The business very high.
over everything else.
After much back and forth with the county.
Erica, we
Thank
appreciate all your work too.
And I see what
I
I
submitted
Yes.
to the
And I
state
see
for
the
county to the
negativity
Department of
that
Health
this
permit to our issue to the Oasis.
and I think
On
that
January
this
20th of
should
this
be-
year, I
and I
received their
appreciate
findings.
all
Please
the
be advised that after.
We really appreciate it. Really appreciate all the work that you're putting back into the community. You're doing a wonderful job as the planning and zoning board secretary.
It was
The
prompted.
town is very grateful that we have projects vetted to everybody in the professional manner in which you've been given your job and how you've executed your job. So we thank you a great deal for all the work. And we also thank you. We hope that you can help us vet the Ulan St. Patrick's Day Parade again. Did you get a wonderful job lining up all the participants, fire departments, and law enforcement last year? So thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. But then we have is there any other comments? Do I have a motion?
Mr. President.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's.
Oh, Joe, yes, can I help you?
Yeah,
Go ahead. State your name, and if you'd like to join us at the podium, you're more than welcome.
It's not good, because no one heard the actual facts, and that was.
Those are not facts.
Nonsense. Nothing but nonsense, Mel. Stop it already.
Is this what happens?
What part of this is nonsense?
not on the
Joe, can you
agenda.
please go ahead? This
is
isn't.
public comment. It is on the agenda.
Everybody, please sit down.
Trust me.
Thank you very much.
Do me the courtesy of listening to what I have to say.
Now that's the.
No, because for
Because
two.
everybody's allowed us 3 minutes and you.
Please address the board. Address the board.
Thank you very much. Joe, can you go ahead? Thank you.
You should let me, I will. One is just a question and actually, if I could actually, it's based on what Christine said about something. And also partly, I may call on Frank to answer this if it's okay, because it's about thin foam the river gauge. I just want to know if you recall off the top of your head. Isn't that in the document somewhere that that's going to be an important measuring point
Well,
for
that was,
purposes of the evacuation plan?
yes, but the National Park Service said that would not be enough because of the location of that
And
cage.
I understand.
But yes, it
But
was
that is-
aimed as a monitoring, flood
And
monitoring.
is that still in it?
It is still there.
So I mean, I'm just trying to get to the point that it's an important thing.
Yeah.
It's not just some,
Yeah.
Earth Day thing, okay?
Thank you for that clarification.
This is just Laura, before you run out the door, I just want to ask you a couple of questions about the internship program.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's all good. Here's my other question as it pertains to the constables. Have your plans, thoughts, discussions, procedures changed at all in light of the Miami Township versus Gillespie decision?
That is, I know they're covering it because we've been getting like the course updates that have been going on, like with the peace training. It's not completely covered because it's not full officer training, but for the peace training alone, it is something that's already being acknowledged and it'll be part of the training course. Again, Jason is a 20-year New York New York City police officer, so he's already completed training. So this is like a refresher course because he's not been a licensed officer for 10 years. So I would assume he would make sure that he's getting all the corrective knowledge you can for process and things that are going on around the country and around the world right now. I appreciate your concern. Is there any other public comment? Yes. Would you like to state your name? Thank you.
From Minnesota Ford. I rise with the unpopular view. I do not think that it is right to gavel down someone who has something to speak in our country. We have the right to speak our minds, as wrong as she is.
No, she's not.
And I absolutely have no sympathy for what she was going to say. But this is the country that I live in. And in this country, when someone is not allowed to speak, others have to rise and say, that's not acceptable.
Okay. I thank you, Glenn, for your input. Is there any other public comment? Yes.
I just, my name's Andrew Fuller, I live on 14 Devon. I just wanted to, we've been there for about a year. Our road is, I see all the other roads around us there's a posted speed limit of 35. Collins has a posted speed limit of 35. Some of the secondary roads have a posted speed limit of 35. There is no posted speed limit on Devon. My niece, my wife, myself, my grandkids, we walk that road, not obviously not now, but during the summer, and it's like 8500 through there. So I just, John and I have had a conversation. I just wanted to bring it to the rest of the board that if we could, I don't think it's much to get a posted speed limit of 35 on that road. If that's a possibility. I know Collins is 35. I know the surrounding secondary roads are also 35. I know part of Highland Lake Road are 35. So people fly up and down that road.
Joe, do you have any objection to, because I know it's just a application
process to get speed limit sign.
Yeah, I mean, we started the process. That's what I was gonna say, like, I can start the inquiry, because it's like basically we submitted, like, like when we did the road signage, it's the same process. So I'm happy to begin it, and we have talked to Mr. Fuller about it before.
The state will come in and do a study on the road, and they will determine the speed limit on the road. That's why Mail Road is 40 and not 30, like residents wanted it. And there's other areas where it's considered, if you ride around town and you look at the speed limit signs, there's area speed limit, and then there's speed limit signs. Like, I believe Yulee is an area speed limit sign where it's mapped out, and that is where it's at.
I would just hate to see somebody.
No, I get it. I mean, it's 55 miles an hour unless otherwise told. You're 100% right.
And that road is the red road. 40.
Yep.
It's better than 55.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a process. Johnny has to file paperwork and then goes to the county. County sends it to the state, and the state does the study, does the recommendation. And then once we get the recommendation, goes to the sign shop down the road here by the transfer station. They come in, they mark it out, however many feet it has to be, and they install the signs for you.
I'm happy to start that process, as we haven't ended the meeting yet. Do I have a motion to begin the process to determine the state's determination on the road of Devlin? I'll start that process. Do I have that motion?
I'll gladly make that motion.
Okay, do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. So we'll begin that as early as tomorrow and get all the answers we need, and then I'll be in correspondence with Joe.
And then this second thing was Johnny and somebody who were familiar with the situation with a neighbor that is next to me. I reached out to the county. They directed me back to the town. I would like to try to set up some sort of mediation with this gentleman, and I just, my wife and I, we're at the point, we're kind of at our wit's end. As I've shared with some of the board members, we're on the fence about selling the house because it's just, we've been here since December 7th of 2024, and this gentleman's been a thorn in our side the entire time we've been there. So I didn't move here for that, you know, my niece is a junior in high school here, and she's made a lot of good friends, and I made a lot of good friends, Donnie included. Frank, I've talked to a bunch of times, Sonia, you know, good people here, but, you know, this one gentleman is, I don't know what his situation is, I don't know what his deal is, but I mean, that's kind of where my wife and I are at right now. So like I said, we just had another instance with him trespassing on our land, and he doesn't want anywhere near his land, but it got kind of broken under the carpet. You know, so I kind of heard that he's got a big, you know, his family is, you know, kind of grounded here, so I'm a newbie in town, and I get that, but I think I deserve the same respect as anybody else. So I don't know what can be done. Like I said, the county directed me back to the town. Because I reached out to them to set up some sort of mediation with him. And my wife and I mean, that's where it's at. Like I want to try to work something out before the summer, before the cops are at my house every other day. I call the cops on him every other day. I just don't want to go through that. Johnny knows a lot of the situation. Sonia knows a lot of the situation. I'm happy with it.
Andrew, so I just wanted, and this is just good for the public to hear as well, because we don't have our own local law enforcement. The only thing we can do is rely on the state and county police for enforcement. We've also tried to approach this from a code and animal control perspective on behalf of both parties. So our only mechanisms are to send a code enforcer out to make sure that there's no violations happening, to make sure that there's no infringement on each other's property happening in real time, that they can write up or that they could action with our court system. So we are reliant on the state and the county police, who have been on top of the situation and responding, and they've given their feedback, you know, individually to us. In past dog disputes and things of that nature, there's been a couple of those. I insert myself into a text message with like regular neighbors that can't find peace amongst them. And I say, hey, if you could just keep me in your correspondence so you guys stay civil with each other, I'm really happy to stay on correspondence. And if need be, we can bring law enforcement in for mediation. We attempted that in this case as well. And we were met with a cease and desist from his neighbor's lawyer. So we weren't able to pursue any more like neighbor to neighbor peer mediation. So all that being said, our tools are to rely on the county sheriff's department and the New York State Police. But all that goes without saying that I urge you all to stay in touch with law enforcement, to document everything. If there's anything where you feel threatened or intimidated, like I've said to Andrew, we will do everything at our disposal using the code department, animal control, any of those other things to help people. But unfortunately, that's where we're at right now. But it's one of the big reasons we want to have our own constabulary force, so that there can be easier mediations and there can be easier solutions to disputes amongst neighbors. So I think that once that we are able to reinstate our constabulary, we'll be in a much better place to handle situations like that. And I think that we all sympathize with you a great deal, and we care about you as a neighbor, and we want you to stay in our community. And I don't really know what else to say about it. I feel like my hands are tied personally, but I urge everybody to rely on the local law enforcement.
One day ago, after I got moved, and that's another thing I can't believe the gentleman said to me, but anyway, so the state trooper did come to the house, and this time they did do a supporting deposition. But unfortunately, the ADA, the county felt it wasn't warranted to pursue criminal charges against him. So again, I've lived in this county my whole life. I grew up in Roscoe, so I know how the good old boy club works. Unfortunately, I think there's a lot of that happens here in this town. But kind of seeing as I'm only been here a little over a year, and the same thing in Roscoe. You know, when I went to school in Roscoe, you know, the principal's son was my quarterback. He couldn't throw football to save his life. So, you know, I did it, but at some point you have to, you know, and some of the things this gentleman has said to me, well, I'll tell you one of the things. He basically said to me, you know, why don't you go have another cancer treatment, Or you could get on a chemo treatment, and better yet, hope you die, and I'll be there tomorrow to sign your grave.
That's
You know, who said that to somebody? And that's where this is going. And, you know, my wife is kind of. We don't know what this, I don't know him on a personal level, I don't really wanna know someone like that on a personal level. But I don't know what he's capable of, he's fired off his rifle outside of his door, my niece was outside walking the dog. I mean, there's a lot of different things that have transpired here that it just goes on. You know, finally there was something on record and the county didn't want to pursue it. You know, and so. I don't.
I think, thank you for sharing. I think, I do have one other resource for you. We have a local police officer that's at the high school, Officer Grady, that I might refer you to. He's really great and he's the most local that we have because he is at the school every day. So if there's something that happens, you know, when he's here, he's always willing to like run off on a call. So I will get a hold of him and refer him to this, and then maybe there could be some mediation done. Maybe those are the resources we have right now.
And I want to make one other thing clear, because I just go around town too. I never hit the gentleman. So I want to make that clear as well. If I was gonna hit him, I would have laid his ass out, but that's
Okay. Yes, Sherry.
I know you don't clean the roads during Earth Day as far up as we are. If I put stuff in bags and bag it on the side of the road, then you take the bags away?
Yeah, so every Earth Day, the UDC pre-purchases like these coupons that are redeemable at the transfer station or at the county dump. I think you can drop it in Monticello or here, but obviously here would be great. But during the first, I know, so I want to get to that. So during that weekend, basically Saturday and Sunday, we have next gen dumpster removal. Matt Salusto drives myself, Matt McPhillips, and others around. Pete Madden also volunteers every year to be a garbage guy with us, and we pick up the bags all weekend long. That's Saturday and Sunday. So if you do have garbage out, that's the one time we can afford you I guess it'll be the 18th and the 19th to pick up the garbage and leave it on the side to be picked up. It will not be picked up after the 19th. So you can't just at large, because that was a problem. We had people just leaving garbage bags by the side of the road on through June last year. And I would stop and get them, and the highway department helped me out with it a little too. But in general, the only time you can leave them on the side of the road is the 18th and the 19th of March. But the coupons, which everybody can pick up, are good through the end of October. They'll still accept them at the transfer station through the end of October. So the clerks will get those, I believe, in the beginning of April. They go from like April to.
We got them the first week in April.
Yeah, first week in April to that last week in October.
It comes down to, you know, tell us what kind of bag to put it in and where, and we'll do it. And
Yeah.
if we have to put a sign on it that says this is for you.
No, not at all. If you leave them on the side of the road during that time, we're more than happy to pick them all up.
Yeah.
And we'll be good.
$7.93.
Last year I did the route from this community center up as far as we could. And I usually have my truck, so I'll make sure I come up that way.
Exactly. I mean, obviously you just don't want to leave it out there for a long time.
Yeah.
Part of it will be what the raccoons got a couple of weeks ago. You know. No, I mean, look, it's great. You don't put it 30 inches.
It thumbs.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, do I have a motion to close this meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any extensions? So moved. Thank you, everybody.